Hey everybody, welcome to CastorsCorner.com and another live toy of the day here on our live YouTube channel. I'm your host Khalil. So happy to have you here back for another day, and we're going to wrap up our Marvel Legends tonight. We have a lot more new stuff on the way. Some of it's already here that will be going in the coming days. Excuse me, God, it's late. In the coming days and weeks, we will have a lot more cool new stuff to talk about. But for tonight, we're going to finish up our look at the Ursa Major wave and take a look at my favorite figure of the wave. Although there are some issues that I'll bring up as I go through it. You can check out a full gallery of this figure on CastorsCorner.com, as well as the archive for our not complete, but a lot of our toy of the days. You can follow us. We are at Kastor's Corner. You could subscribe down below to the channel. That would help us out a lot. We really appreciate that. And you can subscribe and listen to the Cornercast podcast every Monday night on Apple Podcasts. I think this week is going to be Jesse and DJ. I still have to edit it, so, I have an hour. We'll see what happens. So the figure that we're going to talk about tonight is my favorite from the wave. It is not a perfect figure. I will say that. It is close to perfect. There are a couple little nitpicks that I have. So we're going to talk about this one, Ironheart, or Riri Williams. Now, here's the thing. I know about her from reading articles about her taking over as Iron Man for a bit. Have I read any of the issues? No. I am pretty much out of comics these days, which is really weird to say considering how many I actually own. But I am enjoying the modern interpretations and modern additions to the Marvel Universe, because I think it gives us more characters. It gives us a deeper roster to pull from. And with characters like this, it also in some ways pushes the boundaries of how figures are made, because she sports an entirely pinless figure. And I know people might be saying, well, what are pins? I have a figure here that'll help me explain that, I believe, because I'm going to use him for pictures. So this is Iron Man from the Shang-Chi wave, the holographic Iron Man. And on his elbows, do I have another figure? Oh. This guy is not as shiny. So this is a Plunderling. These little things here that hold the joints in place are called pins. Most figures have them. Marvel Legends have them. They are notorious for Spider-Man figures because usually they have to pick which side of the figure the pins are going to match. So usually a Spider-Man figure will have pins that match here, but when you look on the inside, it looks horrible because it's a different color. So over the last 2 years, Marvel has started to institute pinless technology, which means everything is covered over. So there are no visible pins on her knees or her elbows, which is great. She also has double jointed elbows, and not only can you do this, which is a V shape, which most female characters can do, but because of their size of their bodies, because of the size of their arms, you usually can't do this with them, which is tuck them in completely and do a complete, like, a real person can do. So it's really cool to have that kind of articulation. So that's one of the reasons why she's really good. Also double knees. So again, you can really, really pose her out. She comes with an alternate face head, unmasked, and they did a great job with her hair and capturing the comic book look. I mean, it's one of the better figures. I mean, we talked about how the scoop on Darkstar and her hair really didn't look right, but they got the overhang on hers just perfect. It really sits perfectly on her. And she just looks great as a figure. She comes with alternate hands I know you're saying, Cleo, where are the issues here? So these hands, the repulsor hands, don't have movable pegs. So they are permanently in that outstretched position, which is fine. And she comes with new repulsor blasts, which aren't as big and flashy as Tony's, but they work really well. Here's where it gets cool. They gave her smoke accents for her hands, which honestly, one of the best things, additions. I hope that, I know someday we'll get sick of them, to be honest with you, but that just looks so cool when she's firing off a blast like that. It also looks really cool. I think, yeah, should be able to. So it gives a little bit of smoke to her blast, whether they're in her hand or they're in the feet. So I really love that. I could see that being done in many, many different colors, many different shades, translucent and so forth. So I'm looking forward to them hopefully overusing those to give us a lot of options. So where's my drawback with this figure? Because she clearly is my favorite figure. I'm very excited when I talk about it. I think this is the future of Legends. So where are my criticisms? Her neck pad, it is a simple ball joint. Okay. There is no hinge there. So with Iron Man here, there is a hinge on his, sorry, I had him packed away. And honestly, I do this to keep them from doing paint rubs. I learned long ago they stand up better when they're not constantly banging against each other, and you don't get a lot of like stray paint marks on them. So Iron Man, you can push the peg back like that, and then when you attach the head, if you can attach the head, there we go. He can look up while he's flying. She cannot. It is a ball joint that is down into the neck. So what that translates to is she can't look. She can look down, but she can't really look up far enough for flight poses. She's still looking diagonal almost. So I would say that is one of my criticisms of her. My other criticism is I was really afraid. One of the things I've noticed with these new Peglix figures, at least one per wave, I have to give a hot water bath to. What has been happening is the glue that is holding these together, or the welding that's happening with some of these joints, is freezing some of the joints. And without the peg there, you can't get in there, dig it out. You can't see what's going on. In figures with pegs, you can pop them out and put them back in after you've loosened up the joints. And hers, she had a frozen thigh joint here. So I had to heat it up, or it was this one. I had to heat this up, give it a hot water bath, really loosen it up, so I can get full 360, because I could actually feel the connection point starting to stretch and bend. And so I was afraid if I gave it any more pressure, it would literally just snap off. And that has happened before. So those are my two criticisms. I've seen a little more freezing of the joints or glue in the wrong spots that are causing frozen joints. And with Falcon, when I got Falcon around Christmas time, I had to send him back and get a new one. I couldn't unfreeze the joint because the glue was actually in the pinless joint, so I couldn't scrape it out. With these, I've just seen some frozen joints, so not glued. But I think for a figure like this, I think that those two criticisms, I think that I'm sure, well, we've seen it with some of the male figures. It might just be the dimensions of her neck piece that wouldn't allow the ball joint and look seamless. But the way that they have seamlessly incorporated the joints, this is probably one of the most naturally looking comic book figures that they've done. So it's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous piece of art. So thank you to the team over at Hasbro for creating some of this, from Dwight to Laura's not there anymore, to Tony, all the designers, and the marketing team for getting Riri in. Thank you guys for expanding the roster in not only character but gender and ethnicity. This is a step in the right direction, so keep it going, guys. So thank you guys for watching. We will have a full gallery of Riri up on our website, castorscorner.com. You can follow us. We are at Kastor's Corner on all social media. You can check out the Cornercast podcast every Monday night or close to Tuesday morning. Up on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to that and subscribe to the channel. The more of you that subscribe down below, the more cool things we get to do, and then we get to talk about them and share them with you, and that really is the best part of this journey in building this little community. So happy to have you aboard. So remember, come back tomorrow night, subscribe, get the notifications that we got a new video going, and come back tomorrow night for another toy of the day here on castorscorner.com. Good night, everybody.